Hello and welcome to Token Games Podcast. I'm your host and sometimes referee, Zach Stad Pearson. But hey, this is the last one we're gonna do for 2018, so let's just fuck that formality bullshit for the time being. I'm pretty sure everyone who listens to this thing, yes, all three of you, thank you for being here. But as I've always mentioned, this is more so just for me to get to know some of the people I hang out with and to actually get unbiased opinions on people and things within, my favorite forms of media. So having a big subscriber base, not really something that's ever going to hurt me. Plus, I'm not trying to make this my living. If I was, pretty sure I'd be homeless. Well, today we have the one who needs no introduction because he seems to think that leaving his Discord on Do Not Disturb means that people will automatically think he's online, Mr. 9001.
Nah, it's mostly because of all the servers I'm in. Hey, what's up?
Your mic is still too loud and I have no idea what you said. And of course, we've got the New Year's baby, Corey Troy.
Colonel, this is Snake. Can you hear me?
That was pretty good, but your balls haven't gotten dropped enough yet. You haven't got to that guttural tone, so you can't really go Colonel yet. But to be fair, it's not because you're terrible. It's because genetics. Most people, including women, there are certain levels and bass and deepness in your voice that you normally can't get to until you get older. That's why it's easy for me to go Colonel at the drop of a hat without any real preparation. I couldn't do that when I was, say, 20,
Yeah.
The one I always thought was weird was, how is it he's trying to maintain that voice, but then he yells liquid? It's like, dude, you can't expand your voice at the same time that you're contracting your throat. It just sounded weird. Liquid! Like, they had to do some heavy editing on that.
Likely, yeah. Basically, enjoy your youth and don't look forward to becoming an old man like that.
I don't fear old age.
Not to mention, well, even though I still get bullshit for not looking my age, we ain't all that old. However, certain life decisions can lead to people aging faster than others. That's totally understandable. But hey, I still don't have a furry ass, so I consider myself pretty young.
What the fuck?
Men asses notoriously can get hairier as well as their legs when they get older. You motherfuckers seriously didn't know that?
No, I just didn't expect you to be saying something like that, but whatever.
I just can't figure out for the life of me why this man's mic is just so insanely loud. I took his volume from 180 to 100 and now stick it on 60 and it's still going ham. Not that it's a bad thing necessarily. Oh, and it looks like we have an early contender for a late arriver. What's good, Havon?
Give me a second, I gotta plug in.
For those of you who don't remember, Havon was one of our earlier members of the podcast, and he's joining us for the end of the year special. Don't expect it to be structured in the traditional sense. When it gets to the end of the year stuff, we usually just go by dumb shit we found and take turns talking about dumb shit we found. That being said, while he's plugging in, let's start with the depressing shit. But then again, if it wasn't depressing, would we really be talking about it? Sonic, the live action computer generated hedgehog. I still don't understand how that
God, it looks awful.
Kill me now.
I love y'all reactions. I love it.
You cut off there.
I said I love y'all reactions. Now, that being said, I want to give you guys an interesting conversation I have about it from, well, I wouldn't call him an idiot, but I think delusional, at least in the case of Sonic, might be, an accurate statement. Mind you, I'm going to highly abbreviate it. So there's this person who you guys may or may not know, and we'll just leave out the last name. But his first name is Ruben. Ruben saw my massive spreading of the screenshot of Sonic the Hedgehog, where I say, no, and, shit like that. And that there is no God. Faith in humanity is ruined. Sonic is about to get molested Michael Bay style. These are things I actually said to him.
Yep.
Shit you not, his first statement. It will be good. I know the director. Same team as Deadpool. Now, first off, that does not comfort me. But I let him know something because I know he's not, deep into Sonic like I am. Fear and paranoia goes through every Sonic fan of every age group. And that's not hyperbole either. It's on the game design level. On the game design level, he's one of the most inconsistent, and he's also got massive quality issues. Some people say in the history of gaming. Also, not hyperbole. The comic books, however, have been pretty much untouched. Quality has been able to be maintained. So directors aside, fear will not leave me and millions of other fans. If you ever get bored, Google what is the Sonic cycle, and it will all make sense. Now, before
I
you...
think you're setting me up here.
I'm setting you up for the truth, my friend. But, just to let you guys know, and I want to get this just right. The Sonic cycle is literally a meme that came from reality. And I know what you're thinking. Well, all memes come from reality. No. What I mean is, it was a joke that became a meme based on inconsistent quality coming from Sega, which then turned around and became reality. It was basically a meme prediction, and it was one of the only times it happened. And it's never been wrong. Sonic seems to have lost almost any sense of its original direction after the series creator, who barely even worked on half of the series' games before he left. So they have this issue or cycle where they create a good game that everyone loves, and their fans tell them, yes, this is the way to go. This is how you do things. And they immediately, for lack of a better term, hypothetically piss on it in the very next title. Or all their good games are made when Sega has no supervision and just gave somebody licensing permission. So, we had Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, which on paper broke the cycle. 2 good games back to back. However, Sonic Heroes lost any idea of difficulty, and all of the stages are too short. So the cycle may be broken, but here's the thing. That cycle was accurate for over 10 years. Over 10 years, that cycle was accurate. Basically, when Sonic Heroes happened, that's when you can start seeing bits and pieces of the downfall. And then there was Shadow the Hedgehog. God rest its soul.
Shadow the Hedgehog, more like it.
No comment.
I'm dead inside now.
Just a quick recap on that statement. Shadow the Hedgehog was, at the time, current head of Sonic Team, going to Sega and saying, hey, look, first-person shooters are popular right now. why don't we try to adapt that into Sonic lore and Sonic mythos by using Shadow at the time, what was one of their most popular characters, as the star of the game. And it was a colossal piece of shit.
I've never beat that game.
Well, to be fair, it's not your fault because it's so stupid what you have to go through to beat that game that literally, might want to set your mic to push to talk, that you literally have to get about 14 different endings to get to the real true story, which is why to this day, I'm one of the only people who actually knows what exactly Shadow the Hedgehog even is. Everyone makes an assumption because of what they knew
I
from...
assume he's an alien. An alien!
Kinda, sorta. He has alien DNA. So he's a genetic mutation of a hedgehog from alien DNA. Basically, the race has a similarity. Well, once he got mutated and once they made Shadow the way he was, his physical appearance was similar to that of a hedgehog, but he was never actually intended to be apparently a hedgehog. It's just a coincidence he looks like a hedgehog. But, you know, keep in mind, this is shit that happens when Yuji Nakamura is no longer at the company. So the way they did it, and spoilers for a very old game which no one wanted to fucking beat because it was so terrible, Shadow did die in the end of Sonic Adventure 2, which confirmed his form of immortality was his body would not age, not indestructibility. So what happened was Robotnik found his DNA and instead of trying to roboticize him, cloned him. Which is why he has no memory of what happened to him after he fell from space. But also, that explains Sonic Heroes at the end of it, if you know, they found a room with a bunch of containers. No, they found a room at the beginning of that game that had a container with Shadow the Hedgehog. It was a clone that Robotnik had made. However, there were other clones he made, but they were incomplete for some illogical, unexplained reason. And then...
Science.
And then, because of that, fucking... the original reason he was created was lost to time. So you find out literally by going back in time, which I thought was really weird how they even worked that in. You find out by going back in time that Shadow was made by Ivo, who wasn't actually an asshole or a bad guy, to combat that alien threat. Because that dude who was who was leading the alien fight that happens over the course of Shadow the Hedgehog, he had actually visited the space colony ahead of time, and he either threatened the people on it or the good version of Robotnik, whatever that dude's name is, I can't remember. And he realized, shit, nothing in humanity can stop him because that dude can release a spore on the cellular level that paralyzes all organic matter. So Sonic can't run, Knuckles can't punch, Tails can only think. And the way they show it in the game is so stupid. They just freeze the character models in place. And the only thing that ends up happening is that you find out, oh, Shadow's immune to it, which is why he can even put up a fight. So then he gets a hold of the emeralds that he had got throughout the course of his journey, which there was no logical explanation as to why he was even looking for these emeralds. Literally, there isn't one. And he goes Hyper Shadow, and he whoops this dude's ass, so he literally can't take over the world. And the minute he dies, his sentient spores all die off. So, yeah, Shadow the Hedgehog in a nutshell. Yay. But yeah, that's the Sonic cycle. Now I'm gonna go first.
Sir, time travel plots. 06 did that too.
Don't even talk about 06. So basically, to get back on topic, my feelings, because I'm gonna go first on this Sonic the Abomination. You know what? I'm gonna turn that into a meme. Sonic the Abomination. First and foremost, I'm just gonna say right now, I'm one of those people who doesn't make fun of Sonic the Hedgehog because he wants them to suck or he likes that it's funny that they suck. Quite the opposite. I openly critique anything I like, which, duh, I'm in a fucking podcast about that shit. but I also grew up on him and he holds a lot of sentimental value. So because of this, where I'm in a situation where I don't want it to fail, but I already know it's going to be complete and total fucking garbage. So I feel like I'm supposed to run out of a desert where there's no water, but on the other side of the desert is a fucking tar pit. So I'm fucked coming and going. Like, there's no way for me to win. So
There is one way. You join Team Mario and fuck Sonic.
you say that, but Mario games bore me to tears.
Well, you can always play Mario Party and hate your life.
And lose all your friends.
Who said I had friends to begin with?
I still remember when Sonic Team tried to do Mario Party, they called it Sonic Shuffle, and it was worse than Mario Party. Not that it wasn't fun. It wasn't even that it wasn't fun. It was the fact that the fucking way you progress through the stages was random chance. So no matter how good you do in a mini game, you literally had to compete against 3 other people, not one other person, just to get to the next fucking stage. They didn't understand the concept of how to do the shit. It was so infuriating. It looked pretty, but it was so infuriating, man. I swear to God, every time I played that game, I wanted to break the disc. But I digress. That's enough about my feelings. All right, Haven, since I know you on a time limit, what do you feel or do you think needs to happen in order to make this Sonic the Abomination not an abomination movie?
I feel like that's not gonna happen, but if it does, I mean, they need to stick to the lore and not come up with some shitty ass, like, out of left field story about it.
Like Michael Bay did with the Turtles.
Yeah, like, if you're gonna come out with something that people love and then take a chance on a weird ass story, you're already taking a chance on making it live action. So you're already doubling the chance that nobody's gonna like the movie. But you know, he's kind of relying on the fact that it's Sonic the Hedgehog, and all these people that like Sonic the Hedgehog are gonna come out and support it because it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
They tried that shit with Resident Evil. It didn't work. It's literally so derivative that none of the people that watch it play the games.
And apparently they're going to be trying it again with Resident Evil because they're rebooting that shit.
Well, yeah, but, you know, they said that Fuckboy is not going to be in charge of it. So,
That probably won't help much.
I mean, you say that, but look at the CG movies. The reason they exist is because the live action was garbage. And they're 10 times better.
They are way better. I love watching that one movie where fucking Leon and Redfield are in that hall with zombies and Leon.
Oh my God, that was so
John
beautiful.
Wick and fucking Chris Redfield goes fucking The Rock on niggas.
Didn't he suplex a zombie?
He did. He suplexed a zombie and then he kind of like slid back on it using his rifle as a fucking he was shooting his rifle.
Swear to God, I fucking, like, all Capcom has to do, if supposedly they've been making those movies on a low budget, make the movie on a low budget, pay to get the movie into a movie theaters and on the national circuit. That's all they got to do. That's all they have to do.
So on a brighter note, Devil May Cry is coming back.
Yeah, and they actually have co-op, which is the only thing I'm mad about. But before y'all land blast me, how the fuck could you be mad about co-op? Your game is basically a Devil May Cry co-op. They're doing it and making you do it only online. So
No local co-op?
no, which is fucking stupid because it's so
That
easy
is
to
fucking
do.
stupid.
I think it would look weird though if 3 people shared the same screen.
No, you fucking pan the camera out. Also, I will say this about V. It is nice to see somebody who else is a half demon besides Dante and Dante related people. Um, do I think V is Virgil? No. I do find it a little bit strange that he's heavily surrounded by Devil May Cry 1 enemies. For those of you who don't remember or you haven't seen them in modern graphics, that tiger that he has in his trailer, that's the shadow demon from Devil May Cry 1. Now that bird, the little one at least, it could be a hatchling from the demon bird that was in Devil May Cry 1 as well. So, all bullshit aside, you know, it looks like VS2 playstyles. He has long range with his demon summons, Chaos Legion, where you at? And then he has close range with his, I'm basically Noctis from Final Fantasy because creativity in Japan is limited. Now, I know that sounds a little bit insulting, but this isn't coming from, you know, ethnic, stereotypical, racist bullshit.
Did you just mention Chaos Legion?
Did you not see the trailer?
No, I just...
Go look at the trailer.
You had mentioned such an old-ass...
Dude, they even bugged them about it because everyone thinks that the team that made Devil May Cry needs to go make Chaos Legion. In fact, during their last live stream, which was like 2 weeks ago, they said, when is Chaos Legion 2 coming out? As a joke to Matt Walker, who's the American producer for Devil May Cry 5. You know? So, like I said, fucking Chaos Legion, slightly off topic, but I'll burn through it. Chaos Legion is a very special situation. Chaos Legion was actually a book series that Capcom got the licensing to produce. So if they made a new Chaos Legion, they would have to go to that guy. I don't know what's stopping them though. No one, they're supposedly the excuse is low sales for not making the Chaos Legion 2. But the thing is that low sales doesn't mean bad game, or it was good game lows, or it was bad reviews, high sales. Either way, nothing should be stopping them. Now that being said, Devil May Cry is, I fucking can't wait for it, and I'm glad it comes out the day before my birthday because I'm known for not going to work under any circumstances on my birthday, no matter what job I have. But I think I might disappear for the entire month because it's Devil May Cry. Smash Brothers flows directly into Resident Evil, which flows directly into Devil May Cry. So, I mean, I'm pretty much good for the beginning of the year.
So, anybody gonna tell me why the fuck Nero's missing a fucking arm?
Okay, so this is funny. They think they hit it, but they suck at hiding shit because people have video editors these days. All right, so in the very, very, very first trailer of Devil May Cry, Nero is fixing up his primary mode of transportation, some van with a mechanic. And this demon corpse thing that is Virgil's body or Virgil's soul inside of a body, we don't know because whatever this is, it's been dead for some time, says, I need this back. Nero doesn't know what he's talking about. He grabs Nero's arm and he throws him so hard his arm separates from the socket and his demon arm turns directly into Yamato. Nero, not realizing that this happened, stands up and immediately doubles over in pain because his arm, it registered, his arm was taken from the damn socket. And then this dude slashes the dimension with Yamato and uses it to teleport. So, yeah, we don't know what's up with Virgil. All we know is that they said he's not playable in the base game, and if you do encounter him, he may be an enemy. There's all types of things. Basically, what they're trying to say is that they're trying to hide that whatever form Virgil is in is possibly the final boss. They've been trying to hide that. Somebody who was playtesting leaked footage of shit, and they've been trying to, cancel it left and right, all that jazz. So that's all we know. And he calls it the double breaker. It's a mechanical socket. He can put different things in there to let him do different things. I don't know how the fuck he stops time.
I got the demo. I played the shit out of the demo.
Okay, well, first off, fuck that demo because Dante's not in it. Secondly, fuck you, Xbox, for making it fucking Xbox exclusive for however long it's Xbox exclusive for. But that being said, on to our second talk about it bullshit. Street Fighter V now features advertisements and commercials to help you get fight money. Let's just go down the list real quick. Haven, how the fuck you feel about that bullshit?
If any game has commercials in it, it's getting uninstalled from my console. So, yeah, never played Street Fighter V. Also, my PlayStation 4 is upstairs. So, I don't touch anything PlayStation 4 related because I'm too lazy to go all the way upstairs and play it.
Okay, you know you could bring it downstairs and plug it up downstairs wherever you live.
That requires me to go upstairs, unhook it from the computer that's upstairs, come downstairs, move all this shit. I have a heater in front of my wire socket that's built into the wall, so I gotta move the heater. Then I gotta go into this little crawl space, and I gotta plug everything in down there, and then I gotta make a hole so I can plug everything into the PlayStation. And now I gotta build another slot for the place. It's too much work.
You know, one day I want to see pictures of where the fuck you live. That sounds stupidly intricate. That being said, why not just unplug the Xbox and then put the PS4 where the Xbox was?
Because I play my Xbox almost every day. Well, not since I started 60 hours at work, but...
What?
God, Amazon is killing me with 60 hours.
Oh, you work for Amazon now?
Yes, I work for Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world.
Well, hey, at least you got 15 an hour now. I sent you a link to the video in the chat just now. Well, that being said, let's move on to our other old schooler real quick. Officer, how you feel about this horse shit of in-game ads in Street Fighter V?
Fuck you, crap cob. That is all.
I mean, well, at least he got to the point, I guess. Okay, Corey, because I might be a little long with mine.
Yeah, it's stupid. You don't put advertisements for stuff like that in your game.
Remember, kids, just say no to ads. Okay, well, look, because if I don't, who will, apparently. Okay, that's actually a pretty cool setup, but I think the downside is that your shelves have walls. If you'd got like a metal shelf with like rollaway wheels or something, you could have just weaved shit all through that, but I see what you're talking about. Now, that being said, look, I've always had a mixed relationship with Capcom. I feel like I enjoy their games more than I do the company. That's not a feeling that I should be comfortable with having. That's like being in love with an abusive person. You know you want to leave, but you just stay anyway. You know? So when I see that Street Fighter, which, let me just say right now, to whom it may concern, I gave up on the shit once I got a taste of that Marvel life and that X-Men versus Street Fighter life, that Marvel superheroes life. It wasn't even the fact that, hey, this game is faster than the other. It was the fact that Street Fighter fights you when you try to make a combo. Whereas Marvel vs. Capcom and all their other games, they allow you, give you permission to make a combo. And if you take a little bit too much off the top, they spank you by turning off collision detection or giving your opponent automatic recovery. To be fair, if any of y'all has anyone here played Street Fighter versus Tekken?
Yes.
Not me.
Yes.
Okay, well you remember that the Tekken characters controlled like they were basically in a Marvel versus Capcom game. I thought that Capcom was going to move to that standard and format for their Street Fighter games going forward. You know, because that one is perfectly. It's in the middle of Street Fighter and it's in the middle of Marvel vs. Capcom. It functioned, but the only downside, which got on my nerves, was the fact that only the Tekken characters played like that. Oh, and Chun-Li was smooth as shit. I'm really getting tired of them making her play like Guile, charge character bullshit. So, I just immediately assumed that, you know, much like Sega, Capcom is a company that learns from their mistakes. And it's a story as old as time. I don't need to hammer it down. When they released Street Fighter V, it was an incomplete piece of shit because they wanted to basically turn it into an MMO, games as a service, because Capcom's entire fucking corporate staff thinks like this. Ooh, someone else did this thing that made them a lot of money. Hey, let's go do that exact same thing, no matter how bad we are at it or how dysfunctional it is. And rarely do the game developers themselves get to tell Capcom, cut that shit out, bruh. The only time I've seen them do that, their baby Monster Hunter. Oh, they get so much money from Monster Hunter. And the only reason is because...
Let the Monster Hunter devs do as they wish.
And the only reason they did that shit was because they told them, they even said it in news interviews so they couldn't even hide it if they wanted to. If we did paid loot boxes in Monster Hunter, that would literally defeat the purpose of playing the game. Side note, still fucking confused and stupefied by the fact that they won RPG of the Year. But that aside, fucking they still don't seem to understand the concept of you can do so much better with happy fans than you can do happy stock investors. It's really kind of fucking sad. So that's why if I get further up in this industry, in the event I do a crossover, I'm only going to do a crossover under the guidelines of understand that your character will not be utilized for gambling or microtransaction, neither will items, and that they can't ask me to do that. As long as they can do that, I might trust them, because let's be honest, Capcom whores out Ryu like nobody's business. Ryu is like, how to put it? Actually, I don't think there is anybody. Ryu is one of the most used crossover characters in all of video games. The only thing people say he wasn't in was Smash. They fixed that shit real quick, didn't they?
They did indeed.
So, to be fair, look, I guess they see it as any publicity is good publicity, or promotion is good promotion, but you ever have, it's like meeting your heroes almost. You have this perfect ideal role model. Even in person, he's not a fucked up asshole like he is on whatever media you ingest them on. But then you bump into him 10 years later and, you know, they're a drunk, wife-beating alcoholic. Some shit like that. I really don't know how to feel about Capcom anymore. All I know is that, look, I'm only going to give them my money when I know that there's not microtransactions and loot boxes. And since they love microtransaction and loot boxes, that really only means that like, there's two games that I can really fuck with. And if I buy something that has it, it's because I didn't know that it was there. Because Capcom is kind of, they're devious with their shit. They don't tell you that it's there. They wait till the game comes out and you have to find out. Resident Evil Revelations 2 filled with microtransactions, but it's only in one mode and it's not related to the story. But they don't tell you about it. You just have to find it. So I'm going to just say, look, Capcom, I am depressed by your behavior. I don't have anything insult worthy to say. All I have is general statements at this point and critiques, because the flame has died on the passion that was once Capcom, because I am so used to them being like this that it's almost fucking not even worth feeling anything for, you know?
Pretty much.
So, that being said, I apologize, Capcom, but probably after March 8th, you will more than likely maybe never get my money again for one of your games. If anything, you're lucky if I buy an art book from you. They already got a Devil May Cry art book for all the first 4 games combined. Now they're making a special edition version of it, but they didn't clarify if what's special edition about it. Like, does it include Devil May Cry 5 shit? If it do, yeah, I'm gonna get it. But then after that, what else do I need you for? There's nothing you do exclusively or individually that literally requires me to only go through you to get it. Monster Hunter is Phantasy Star Online. It is fucking Pokemon. What do you like? And both of those things are older and are the reason Monster Hunter exists. Phantasy Star more than Pokemon because they literally used Sega's engine from Phantasy Star Portable to make Monster Hunter. And whoever made God Eater used it too.
Wasn't God Eater Square Enix?
I don't know who does God Eater, but a publisher is not the same as a developer. So that's just how I feel. I officially retire my interest in Capcom related affairs after March 8th. I know it sounds fucked up, but it is what it is.
March 7th, they announced the next Monster Hunter game.
No, dude. First off, you gotta understand. I had Phantasy Star and back in the day Pokemon. I had no reason to touch Monster Hunter because even the way people explained it is like, well, that sounds familiar. And it was a bit of a portable fad to make a Phantasy Star clone on it, on a handheld system. I've only ever played and owned one Monster Hunter game, and it's the one for the PS4. So I don't have to touch anything else. I still play Phantasy Star Online too. Matter of fact, I think a month after that new DLC comes out in Monster Hunter, a new class comes out. They call it Phantom. Fights with a katana and a scythe. Not at the same time though.
That'd be silly.
Hey, it's Japan. Anything's possible at this point.
I suppose.
I still don't understand. Well, I kind of do. How you're one of the richest countries in the world without investing into other places and countries, yet that birth rate is still fucking literally bottom tier. It's not even a joke. Like, I genuinely think that that's a terrible thing, but at the same time, I'm just like, if you don't want to care about your own fucking people, like, what will you care about? But that's not really a gaming thing. That's me waxing philosophical for the billionth time. Okay, so I'm going to just ask you two this. Unfortunately, Havon had to leave, so that's why I said two. What do you want to see Nintendo do differently, business-wise, on any level next year, Corey? Fucking love catching them off guard. Wake up!
I'm thinking about the question like.
In case you haven't realized, for the record, the next questions are going to be, what do you want to see Microsoft and Sony do better than they did or differently next year as well? Just a heads up.
I mean, I feel like Nintendo had a solid year. I mean, I guess like keep up whatever they're doing.
So you want Nintendo to continue releasing good games, and you want them to continue to get close to trying to appease their fans instead of investors.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say half of my answer. All right, officers. Second verse, same as the first.
Well, you did pretty good with that Switch. Now, keep up the good work. Release some more cool games for it. Maybe get some third-party games up in there. And, yeah. Things will be pretty good for you for a while. The Switch is a
I think that was their biggest mistake coming from the Wii. Okay, Corey again. Now what about
PlayStation one.
yeah?
God, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do next year. They're skipping E3. I already skipped PlayStation experience. I don't think I could figure them out right now. I mean,
So you want them to be more, or rather less confusing, and make more sense as far as what they're trying to accomplish next year.
yeah. Yeah.
Short and sweet. Don't worry, you're new to this, so we don't expect, completely stupid articulated answers and shit yet. All right, officer.
Huh?
It's your turn.
Okay, yeah, you cut off there for a second. So, Sony, well, I know you're working with Kojima now, and he's like kind of your best bud, and he's known for making some really off the wall, really crazy shit. But maybe be a little more, just a little bit more open as to what you're doing, because I think you're making all of your fans more than a little bit concerned.
You want to elaborate on where the concern is coming from?
The whole they're not showing up at E3. There's little, if any, more details out about that Kojima game, Death Stranding, was it called? And, well, I'm just wondering what games are they going to put out next? Because I don't think they're going to be making a new console, at least for another few years.
I think we're getting one sooner than we think.
Yeah, like they're supposedly gonna announce it next year, either right after or right before Nintendo actually shows off their new Super Switch. Oh my God, what if they actually call it the Super Switch? I would fucking die.
Oh, there's some new Switch Nintendo's putting out?
Hey,
A
look,
pro version of the Switch.
look, I'm not gonna really get you caught up because we've mentioned it on this podcast like 7 times. Just Google it.
I think just saying Pro Switch is good enough.
Okay. So a Switch with fancier stuff in it, more processing power and all that. Okay. Kind of like what they did with the, what's it, 3DS.
New 3DS.
Yeah, with the new 3DS. That, I think even now, barely has all that many games that take advantage of its capabilities, specifically, But yeah, basically what I'm saying for Sony is, well, give us more updates and all that.
Okay. Uh. Hmm. All right. First off, Corey, do you have an Xbox?
I do.
Oh, cool. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think Phil Spencer put it pretty blunt at the Game Awards with he's like, yeah, we had a good year. Yeah, not could have been better. I mean, they acquired like a lot of studios this year, and that's really good on them. But we're not going to see anything from those studios for quite a while, if not the next generation. I mean, next generation they might just kill it, but next year, I would like maybe to hear about some development going on in the first party department. I mean, Gears of War is like the only title they had, and they canceled their Game of Platinum. They don't have a lot of first party titles going on, and Halo doesn't look too interesting, to be quite honest, whatever they're doing with that. It's really confusing. Halo, Halo Infinite, whatever that is, they haven't been too like accurate, like detailed about it. But I mean, I was never really a big Microsoft person to begin with. I think Microsoft will have me more interested next generation. I'm probably not going to buy an Xbox One X or anything, but yeah, I mean, I think next year I'd like to hear more about the games. I don't know, I'd like to hear more about first party games because honestly, their lineup doesn't really interest me too much.
Just keep stealing my answers. Good on you, though. Okay, now if y'all hadn't noticed, I didn't answer any of those 3 questions. But that's okay. I'm going to go through them all at once, and then Matt can close it with Xbone. But mainly he's going last because it's going to be a very short opinion because he doesn't like the Xbox. Okay. All right, starting with you, Nintendo. Look here, motherfucker. You did good. Daddy's seen your report card. You've earned your accolades. The lamentation of the women, etc., etc. However, you knew from the get-go you were too far behind when it comes to basic levels of power. Not necessarily graphical as much as processor and RAM. So, even though there's been leaks of the Super Switch, which I'll link you guys to later, I think that it might not necessarily be Switch upgrade so much as literally a new system that also plays Switch games. My main reasoning for that is because there are games that are coming out for that system, hypothetically, that basically dictate you literally cannot fucking play the old games or their games when they come out on that system. Who just sent me a message? I'll get to it later. So if you look at it from that perspective, that's a completely different system. Also, I swear to God, if they name this shit new Nintendo Switch, I'm going to lose my fucking mind and I'm going to throw it at somebody because I don't know if oh shit, microphone issues. Hold on. Okay. I don't know if I told you about this, Matt and Corey. You weren't around for this, obviously. We hadn't met, but 2 of the most annoying and aggravating conversations I've ever had in my life were because of Nintendo naming that thing the new Nintendo's 3DS. I'm gonna tell you exactly what the fuck happened. When this new 3DS was coming out, I was still stationed at one of my bases. Surprise, I used to be in the military. I've probably mentioned it on this podcast a billion times. But you have to be specific with where you want to go because they don't allow, or at least on some bases, they don't allow Lyft or Uber drivers to go past a certain point, or they could get a full base ban depending on what base you're on. So we had to use a lot of motherfucking taxis. But the thing about taxis, you got to give them exact address. You can't say, oh, wherever the nearest Best Buy is, wherever the nearest such and such is, right? So there was a little strip mall plaza, but behind that bitch, because I actually like to, be nosy and explore, was a motherfucking Best Buy and a Target. And I got their number one day, and I called them in advance before I could, leave. Because you can't just leave whenever you want to, otherwise it wouldn't be a military base. And what they told me, I asked the lady, hey, can you tell me if you have the new Nintendo 3DS? She told me, oh, well, we don't carry used at this store. I was like, no, okay, it's weird how they did it. The actual name of the new version is new Nintendo 3DS. I was like, yes, we don't carry used. So suffice to say, this conversation went in a loop for like 5 fucking minutes.
Oh dear.
Now, not only am I physically in uniform as well as literally, which, I guess that's an overlap, but This lady knows, even if she doesn't know me, she knows I'm pretty much calling her from a fucking base. So I could not say anything remotely stupid to her. And I eventually just went there without knowing if it would be there. And it was there. But it was so fucking stupid. Because even when I got there, I had to tell management, hey, listen, just for future reference. The fuck? Somebody stall.
What? Did something come out?
Hello? Yeah, Hot Shots got
Regardless, jeez, that sounds really fucking stupid. They certainly their
sorry, what?
employees would know it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said it's still exists, but okay, that's really fucking stupid that they wouldn't be able to figure that out. Oh well.
Yeah, you can get rid of the shrimp shumai if you don't have any material.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people who work in retail.
Yeah.
They are not stupid people. But then I hear stories like this one, and it hurts that people are just that stupid.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree. I promise you, Nintendo is full of stupid people. Arrogance is a form of stupidity. Look no further than Kanye West or Vegeta, or
Vegeta.
to a more personal extent, Shigeru Miyamoto. Now, I'm sure I've told you this story before, officer, but it's new for Corey. So let me get this very, very clear. Whatever preconceived notions you have about what type of person Shigeru Miyamoto is, I promise you, and I guarantee you, you do not know true arrogance until you know that man. Shigeru Miyamoto famously, first off, let me just give a little bit of context. Eiji Aonuma is basically the person who's been in charge of most of the Zelda games ever. Miyamoto may have created one or two, but most of the ones that were made, Eiji went through Eiji Aonuma, and Miyamoto was just like somebody around who they let handle shit. Okay? When they were making one of the more recent Legend of Zeldas, I believe it was Skyward Sword, there are things Miyamoto kept trying to remove from the game that literally everyone, including the people programming it, knew to leave the fuck in there. It got to the point where they told Eiji Aonuma, who was really in control, and he said, oh yeah, you guys had it right. Do what you just said. And he still went behind them and had them switch it. And this went in a loop until Eiji Aonuma got so pissed, he told him, do not disobey me again. Now, I don't know what this thing that fucking Miyamoto kept trying to take out was, but hey, look, they should have got him for the controls. Say what you will about Skyward Sword, but them fucking controls had no fucking point to being Wii motion only. It was fucking stupid. And then this happened again. Except this time it was more direct. Everyone who played, which was basically...
Dare I say Nintendo Direct?
I'm going to pretend you didn't. Everyone who played Star Fox Zero before it came out made a point to mention that the controls are fucking getting people killed, not because of reflexes and motion controls, but because it's not designed right for the way enemies show up and come up in the screen. Not to mention, your collision detection is still on during cutscenes. So if the camera has to pan to you, you can get hit by things that you don't even know are there because the camera hasn't fully finished panning to you. Platinum Games told that motherfucker that they were going to leave in the regular control scheme with like a controller. He told them to take out the coding that even allows for that. And when he got pressed in media, one of his most famous statements was, "You'll get used to it." This is the same man who said a good game takes time, but a bad game is forever. But at the same time, that doesn't affect me as much for the simple fact that, hey, I was never a Mario kid. When I played Nintendo games, they usually weren't made by Nintendo. Streets of Rage. Oh, sorry, not Streets of Rage. Sorry. Final Fight. Battletoads. Double Dragon. You know, that type of thing. I tried my hand at Zelda, but I was too young. And that's pretty much it. Like, I was aware of Mario, but I did not live off of Mario, you know? I had Sonic. So, fucking, that man is not a scumbag by any stretch of the imagination, but his arrogance, it's almost Nintendo's fault. You don't question this motherfucker when he does something. What did you think was going to happen? He may say he doesn't think he's always right, but first and foremost, hey, he's made some bombs. Anybody remember Wii Music?
Not really. Perhaps for a good reason.
They tried to make the Nintendo Wii controller and the analog attachment emulate 17 or 20 different musical instruments by itself in one game.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was terrible. And he had the biggest, dumbest smile on his face, like he just made the cure for cancer. So with that being said, fucking look, fix the concept of how they view controllers. I don't know what it is, but every time they make a motion controller, it's too small for adult hands outside of Japan. I am well aware the average height of a person runs smaller in Japan, of all places, but let's be honest, their primary market and most of their sales, besides coming in at the ass end of the year, aren't from the Japanese market. So why are these controllers so small I can completely cover them with my fist? How am I supposed to grip that when I'm playing a fucking game? Say what you will about the Wii U gamepad, but the grips made sense. Also, these fucking button sizes need to get consistent. It's been aggravating me for the longest. Their button sizes and positioning change every fucking controller. I know what you're thinking. Well, they look the same on the Super Nintendo controller as they do the Pro controllers. Like, nope. The Super Nintendo positioning is more aligned to a diamond shape with all the angles being the same size. When you get to the Wii U Pro controller, they thicken the buttons and they increase the width a little bit, and they also change the controller's natural ergonomics. Now, when you get to the Switch Pro controller, they actually took the diamond pattern and they spaced out the X and the 8 button more than they normally do. Don't get me wrong, I don't think these are bad ideas, but be consistent with your shit, Nintendo. That's their biggest problem, consistency. They make the strongest system at the time and it bombed. Well, it didn't bomb, but it underperformed massively, 64. They made the strongest system again and it bombed massively, GameCube. That one was a genuine bomb. Sony just had a stupid big ass lead. Then you get to the PS3, Sony drops the ball, Nintendo runs with the ball, and they still refuse to even learn from the good things that Sony did right with the PS3. Then let's go into this PS4 shit. Sony basically was, hey, look, you know what? We fucked that shit up. We screwed that pooch, but we know exactly how to fix everything that we did wrong, except allowing you to play your PS3 games, which I think now you got to pay for it all over again. Side note, as of March 8th, the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita, I believe, digital stores will cease to exist. Which I'm not sure what the point of that is. But I just want to throw that out there. So yeah, that's my fucking issues with Nintendo. You need to stop having other people make the games that you say more players want to see and learn to make them yourselves. You may be publishing Bayonetta, but you don't have an in-house Devil May Cry type game. You may have published a litany of Resident Evil games, but you don't have an in-house Resident Evil game. Now, I don't care if they make a first-person shooter, but they've never actually tried. They don't even really know how to do RPGs. By the way, the reason the most recent Paper Mario RPG on the Switch bombed, ironically Miyamoto, but not really ironically. Everything that they wanted to put in there that was perfectly fine and would have made the game have more characters and more, hilariousness and basically harken back to their favorite Paper Mario game, 1,000 Year Doors, he went in there and told them to take out. He was literally telling them to take out NPC individuality. How the fuck do you create art and then tell people take out individuality? Show less creativity. He's an old motherfucker. Never forget that. So yeah, that's what I want to see. Okay, Sony, I ain't got much for you. Daddy's seen your report card. He knows that you cheated and you paid people for these A's, but let me be clear. You finally have a competitor in your big brother, Nintendo. Your day of reckoning may not be coming, but be rest assured, a challenge has been issued. The less portable you are, the less people you gonna have. And obviously, Sony's scared of portable because every time they do it, they get their asses molested. And that's me being nice.
Nintendo, yeah.
No, just in general, because no one looks at Sony. Their own fan base has openly admitted, if you go online sometimes and said, when they think about a portable, they don't automatically even want to fathom a Sony portable. And theoretically, they fixed the only true issue people have with it. Well, if I have this game on my PS4, I can't play it on my Vita. They tried to fix it with streaming, but the problem is that the shit was so limited in scope. And then to top it off, almost no developer would do a release of the game on the console, PS4 and PS3, and then dump it on the Vita. So I don't know what they're going to do for the PS4. They might just enhance their streaming capabilities so they don't need to make a portable system. That's a definitely possibility, but at the same time, people naturally in their own fan base don't want to touch a portable system if Sony made it. I don't know what they're going to do, but here's what I'm going to say. All they really got to do is make a PS4 Pro, which I've mentioned a billion times, I know, but Corey hasn't heard it, and make it so their system has a port or a bunch of slots where it can be easily upgraded. So if a new game come out and, they can't run it, all they got to do is buy this attachment that doesn't cost, buy this attachment that doesn't cost, like fucking $300 or $400 like a system, and instead it costs like maybe $100 or $150. Basically, instead of buying a new computer, you buy a new graphic card. And not to mention, you could also put in a possible new processor, all other types of cool shit. That's all I'm thinking that they have to do, And of course, make sure that cloud saving is universal. If I'm giving you $400, that's enough money for you to let me get on cloud storage. Or if I bought a used system, make me pay a one-time fee. You're already getting billions of dollars from your PlayStation store. You have enough money to fund the storage server alone. It's not like we're still not paying for it. So that's all I get. And as far as Xbone, I ain't got shit for you because I still don't fucking like you. I don't hate Microsoft, I just don't like Xbox. All right, officer. Close this out while I go look for the leaked Nintendo Super Switch shit.
Switch. Yeah, I don't really care about the Xbox either. Occasionally, there's some good games that I might want to play. I had pretty fond memories of Lost Odyssey back on the 360, but other than that, you really don't have my interests, Xbox. I'm sorry. Get better games.
I am just having mic troubles out the ass. The microphone ain't broken, it's just the mechanisms around it. Anyways, all right, let me go pull up that video. And, just Corey, closing statements for the year of 2018.
It was a solid year, I think. Hopefully 2019 is a better year.
Officer, you're next, bro.
Okay, I was waiting for you to say something. Well, let's see here. Fuck Konami.
As expected.
Fuck Konami. Crapcom. You're doing some not so nice stuff. Stop that. And other than that, here's to another hopefully decent year for gaming. And we'll see whether or not Square Enix can actually deliver Kingdom Hearts 3 on the promised release date.
Well, I guess I should say something, but I don't have anything other than I'm probably going to spring to get our asses on Spotify. So that's when we're going to possibly have to really, really figure out what the age rating for this thing is going to be. But, yeah, I appreciate you guys showing up. I'm not sure what the fuck happened with everyone else, but hey, we got Smash Brothers, and I'm pretty sure before we even get to January 1st, we'll have some crazy shit to talk about. I will see you guys when I see you guys.